Okay, so this episode this week was a bit relaxed, not as intense or like shocking, but I think the defining question of this episode is what constitutes rape, whether it be in terms of Arabella or Kwame. When I tell you, like, last week I was so busy, and I'm just really appreciative of every single one of you for coming out and still commenting and keeping the discussion going. I always say it. I'm not going to say it. Okay, I'm going to say it. I didn't expect it, but thank you so much. I didn't want to let you guys down. I was so sorry because I just want to keep on producing the best content that I could possibly produce. So just thank you. We're going to skip Can I Get a 2 Snaps this week? I am sorry. We'll do it for this one. We're just going to get right into it because I have a lot of things to cover. So the episode begins with maybe Arabella having a sex dream, and we see her with her eyes open before her alarm sets, and she is looking at Zain. I don't know what she's thinking. Maybe she's thinking, ew, he's trash, but she is looking at Zain. So as we can see, Arabella gets up and begins to do yoga, her daily yoga challenge. I guess she is starting to listen to her therapist, and she's on the path of doing things like painting, exercising. She's definitely doing things to help her cope and to keep her preoccupied. I personally felt like Zain made Arabella feel a certain way about her listening to that yoga podcast or whatever, that she decided to change and listen to something else. And I'm happy she kind of felt a little bit insecure about it, because guess what? It led her to hear some information that she never knew about. So Arabella comes across a podcast called Tea and Two Chicks. She enters into the podcast midway while they're talking about guys taking off their condoms during sex. During the podcast, they said things like, he secretly took off his condom. And the men will say things like, I thought you knew. And a light bulb goes off above Arabella's head. And the minute she heard that, you can tell she knew, this is what happened to me. And I admire her a lot, because as soon as she heard that, she left. She didn't hesitate. She just wore his shirt, left. No pants, nothing, left. And I was like, you know what? I respect it. Just go. Just leave the situation and go. So Arabella gets a call from the station saying that the sexual assault referral unit has some information. It is revealed that semen has been found on the flannel that she wore, and there is DNA. So in my heart, I'm just like, yes, rejoice. I feel like everybody rejoiced at that moment. I was like, ugh, a relief. It's sort of like a weight lifted off our shoulders. What they would do is take the sample from the flannel and put it into their database to see if it matches with anybody that was already or previously arrested. But because the sample is weak, they could only do a direct comparison. So their plan is to look for suspects and check their DNA against the sample. And I'm like, oh my, this is gonna be good. We're gonna get somebody. And it's also revealed that they have a potential suspect. And I'm just like, yes, we got him. We got that white boy. We got him. However, there is no surveillance or a witness to confirm it, but he has been reprimanded for similar offenses before. If the sample matches, then we have the guy. But then I think there's going to be a point where she has to confront him and point at him, look him in the eye, and be like, that was the man that raped me. Will this episode come? I don't know. Is this the direction we're going in? I don't know. So Dre, the basketball guy, and Simon have been cleared. They've been helpful with the police. But now they have to also take into account the semen that was consensual from other partners that she's been sleeping with. And one of those partners is Biagio. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, that's going to be a huge problem, because one, Arabella hasn't told him, and two, like Terry said, he is an Italian drug lord. Okay, maybe not a drug lord, but he's an Italian drug lord, and that's already a problem within itself. He likely doesn't want to be involved with the police, and secondly, he does not want his DNA to be in the hands of the police. And they'll probably be going into his house to get the sample. I don't know if he's going to go down to the station, but they're probably going to show up to his house to get the DNA. Nah, they're probably not. So my question to you guys is, did y'all see the eye roll? Like the, oh my god, my eyes. Did you all see I don't even know what road man. Did you all see the hard, when I tell you hard eye roll from Terry when the detective said Biagio's name? What was that about? Why is she rolling her eyes? Like, I'm telling you guys, I feel a subtle jealousy coming from Terry. And we see that jealousy again. When did we see it again? We see it again when the two girls are exercising and Biagio calls and she's like, you still haven't told him. And she's like, you know what? I like it. I like it when there's secrets between us that he doesn't know about. And I'm just like, sis. Like, I understand where she's coming from, because I've been in a situation where my best friend tells her boyfriend everything and I feel like I'm in the dark sometimes. I'm like, can we not have secrets between us? But why is she so against Biagio? Is it because he's a drug dealer? I don't think it's because he's a drug dealer. Tell me what you guys think about that. I want to know. Okay. Next, as they're leaving, Arabella is praising them, calling them the rape busters, which is funny. Who are you gonna call? The rape busters. But yeah, that was funny. That was kind of cute. And Arabella asked the question of whether a man taking off his condom during sex constitutes as rape. And the woman said, yes, it does. And they would believe, like, there's so many areas that people don't know about that counts as rape. So I took it upon myself to go and learn exactly what this action is called. And it's called stealthing. Stealthing is non-consensual condom removal, or stealthing is the practice of a man covertly removing or damaging a condom during sexual intercourse when his sex partner has only consented to condom-protected sex. Such behavior may be regarded as sexual assault or rape and is a form of reproductive coercion. So Kwame during this whole scene was basically like dumbfounded. Not even dumbfounded. I feel like he was out of it. His head was in another space. He was listening, but he was more in shock. Like, you could just see it in his eyes, his puppy dog eyes. He's such a baby to me. Let me keep on track. What was I saying? As Kwame is listening to the detectives, he has sort of like an OMG moment. He sort of starts to realize, like, rape is not so black and white. There are multiple variables that can play into this, and then penetration is not the only way for someone to be convicted of rape or experience rape. So as they're outside of the station, he starts to Google, is non-consensual humping rape? And the results show people put in assault, rape, whatever. So in the next scene, Arabella makes her way to her meeting with the editors and to meet Susie Henny from Henny House. And guess what? Henny House is a black woman, and I understood exactly why Arabella was so hyped to find out that her boss, the head honcho, is a black woman. I don't know if anybody understands the experience of working with other black people, especially in a white setting. It is the best feeling ever, and especially when they are your boss, you feel more relaxed. There's less pressure to be the best black person in the room when there's other black people around. And having her as a boss is like a comfort, and I totally get it. My current boss right now is a black woman, and she is dope as hell. I respect her so much. So before Arabella showed up, Miss Henny was basically talking to the editors, asking why didn't Arabella finish her draft. And they didn't say anything exactly as to why she didn't finish it, because they already know that Arabella was raped, but I don't think they believe it's their responsibility to say it, and I think that is definitely appropriate. I don't think anyone should be telling someone else's story. So I think they made the right call on that one. So Zain comes in, everybody introduces each other. Miss Henny introduces herself to Zain and shows off her assistant Sean. And then Zain said to Sean, have we met before? Sean looked at him with no enthusiasm, and she's like, yes, we've met before. We worked at the British Library. And then Zain was like, oh yeah. So based on her tone, we could already tell they ended off on a bad note. So everybody's there. They're all sitting around, and then they go back to Arabella, wanting to know what happened to her. And she reveals that she was raped. But the way she said it, I fell out. I was like, I almost choked. I choked the way she said it. And it was brilliant the way she said it. I replayed that over and over and over because I was just like, wait, did she say it that way or did she not say it that way? She said it so smart. She basically said, yeah, I got raped. They found his DNA and I basically know his name. Zain, thank you for helping me. Everybody's head whipped like, what? Miss Henny's head was the first to whip. She whipped her head so hard when she said Zain, but you know whose head didn't whip or whose head wasn't really that shocked? Sean. Watch it again. Miss Henny was like, but Sean was like, that means Sean knew something. Sean knew what was up. Sean knew. After hearing the things that Arabella had to say, Miss Henny was ecstatic. She's like, this is the story that I want to hear. But not every victim wants to tell their story. And maybe that's the route we're going to go with in the show. Maybe she's going to just scrap her whole, whatever she had going on with that draft. I don't know. It clearly didn't sound good. And maybe she's going to start writing about her experience and sort of being the beaker of sexual assault and rape for millennial women. But other than that, Miss Henny asked her to read an excerpt or a passage from her upcoming project. And Arabella asked if her friend Terry can perform it. And I died when Miss Henny asked if she was white. And I get why Susie Henny asked if it was going to be read by a white friend, because especially being a Black author, I don't think you would want a white voice to be stealing the narrative of a Black woman, right? Yeah. And I think it would lose its power if it was spoken by a white person, because if it's written by a Black woman for Black women, it don't make no sense. Okay, so Era breaks news to Terry and lets her know that she is going to be she's going to be reading her project to an audience of people at the summit. And Terry is gassed, rightly so, like, this is what you've been waiting for, Terry. You've wanted your moment, and your moment has been given to you by your best friend on a silver platter. Your birth is my birth, your death is my death. Here it is, Terry. Take it and go. And this girl is thinking about outfits, thinking about who's going to be there. Is it going to be filmed? And Arabella tells Terry, breathe, assess the situation, assess the crowd, look them in the eye, and gather that strength. And when you do, smile and let it all blow. Seeing what has happened and looking back, she sort of foreshadowed what she was about to do at that summit. She took a breath. She assessed the crowd. She assessed the situation. And she blew it up. Okay, so in the next scene, we see Arabella with Zain in his apartment, I believe. I don't know where they are, but they're painting. Again, Arabella's doing what her therapist recommended. And Zain basically confronts her and is like, he doesn't say it because he's too scared to say it, but he's like, why didn't you tell me you were raped? Why didn't you tell me? And Arabella says, again, I'm telling you, she's killing it. She is killing it. I don't know if it was intentional or if she was doing it by accident, but I'm starting to think it was intentional the way she was saying it. And she said, I guess we both knew you were a rapist and it might change us. And he's like, what? He's like, wait, what did you just say? And she corrected herself and she said, I thought if we both knew about the rapist, it would change us. And I'm telling you, her delivery and the way she wrote that, genius. Genius, genius. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it as her switching the roles and being the gaslighter in this situation. Subtly. I saw her as the gaslighter in this situation. And I'm new to gaslighting. I found out about the term maybe a couple months ago, but then someone brought it up in the comments last week saying Zain was gaslighting her. And I didn't see it until I looked up what gaslighting means. And now I sort of understand it. And I feel like Arabella sort of used gaslighting in her favor subtly to sort of confuse Zain and make him question his sanity. Because this is the definition of gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse that's seen in abusive relationships. It's the act of manipulating a person by forcing them to question their thoughts, memories, and the events occurring around them. A victim of gaslighting can be pushed so far that they question their own sanity. I don't think Arabella did it to the extent that a true abuser does, but she did it subtly. She did it so subtly that he was like, "Wait, what did you say?" Because he was hearing certain things, but she reworded it to be like, "Did you not hear what I said? Are you tripping?" And I was like, "That's how it's done." But I was like, so now we're going to dive into the scene about Kwame reporting his sexual assault, and I'm disappointed. But I think this is the reality that men face, heterosexual men and also homosexual men even more. They're even more stigmatized in a case of sexual assault. We see a huge contrast in the way Arabella was treated versus Kwame. There is sympathy when a woman is sexually assaulted. There is rape. They treat it more delicate. They treat it more delicately and more thorough. With Kwame, maybe because he was likely because he was a homosexual male, there was a lot of ignorance, and the cop was definitely uncomfortable. And this is a huge problem. I see it as a problem. A situation like this can also help for others to understand, like, maybe the whole defund the police movement stands, and it makes sense because there are situations they are not trained for, and we need to take that money and allocate it somewhere else, allocate it into social workers, allocate it into mental health workers, people that know how to facilitate these situations. Was the police officer new? Maybe. He looked a bit young. Was he homophobic? I don't really think so. I think he was just uncomfortable being a straight man. He just didn't know what to do with it. But I feel like if someone tells you that they are attacked, if they are hurt, you need to care for them. And again, we see Kwame being failed. I was really annoyed how the police officer was asking if Kwame knew the assaulter's name. When him and that guy met up, I guess it makes sense. You should know the person's name if you're going to meet up with someone. You should be like, "Hey, how are you?" I agreed with the cop in that sense, but Kwame was handing him information. Kwame was saying, "Hey, I know his address." If the cop listened, maybe he could have searched his address in the database and find out who lives there. That's all I'm saying. And he was not listening to him. Why was he so fixated on the name? If he gives you an address, that's some type of evidence to help you out. And to further prove that, like, they didn't even give a shit about Kwame is the door being left open. That shot was like, damn. If we go back to that shot, what did the door say? The door said, "Attention, this door must be shut at all times. You are putting people in danger by having it open." They didn't even care enough about Kwame's case to close the door, about his report to close the door. If it was someone else, that door would have been closed. If it was another issue, if it was a woman, that door would have been closed. And when that lady came out of her office to say, "Oh, is everything okay?" she just dismissed him and said, "Okay, yeah, cool, I was just checking." Bro, I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. Okay, so at the summit, Sean approaches Arabella and asks her, "Oh, so what's the deal between you two?" Referring to Zain. And she asks Arabella, "Are you guys dating?" And Arabella's like, "You know what?" She was about to answer and say yes, but then she's like, "You know what? I don't know. Subtext. And Arabella asks Sean, "Were you guys a thing?" And she's like, "Yeah, subtext." And Sean continues speaking, and she says, "It's impossible to protect yourself from his nature." And she continues even further, revealing that other women were in the same boat that they were in. So this is not the first time that maybe Zain has taken off his condom by mistake that he didn't know. This is a thing he does. And I was like, ugh. This episode hasn't had like an explosion yet. Nothing has happened yet. This is a pretty chill episode. And I'm like, she is not gonna go on stage and expose this man. She is not. She grabs Terry and she lets Terry know what is up, what is happening. Moments before it's Terry's turn to go up and read the passage for Arabella, she gets cold feet and she chokes. And again, we see Terry abandon Arabella at her most vulnerable moments. I really didn't know how to feel about Terry this episode because I'm just like, girl, you're an actress. This is what you want. You want to be in front of people. You want to be seen. But yet she got nervous. And I don't know. I need you guys to tell me, how did you feel about Terry just leaving Arabella like that? Knowing the information about Zain, knowing that she already didn't want to read in the first place, knowing that moments before going on the stage. I get that you're nervous, but like, help your homegirl out. What are you doing? And then the minute Zain got exposed, she was quick to voice her opinion with her phone, being there, being like, what's up? And she was happy. She was over the moon that she was a meme for doing the bare minimum. I don't know how I feel about Terry, but that's beside the point. Let's continue. Let's get back on track. I got off on a tangent, but let's get back on track. So yeah, so while Arabella and Terry are sitting in the audience listening to Miss Henny speak, she starts imagining things. She starts having those visions again, and she looks over at Zain. And maybe looking over at Zain fueled her to have that vision of her being in the position of the rapist. This time in her vision of the rapist, it's her face. And I sort of like flinched. I was like, wait, why is she in that position now? But after her exposing Zain on stage, I sort of get it. I think I get it. I don't know. Follow me. Let me know if you agree. Obviously seeing how the episode played out in retrospect, I saw it as I saw her being in the position of the rapist in her vision is sort of like a way of her saying, yo, I'm about to F this guy over, and she's going to reclaim that power position that she once lost. That's the way I saw it. Let me know if you agree. Let me know how you interpreted it. But let me tell you, when she went on stage, and she actually did it. She said it with her whole chest. There was no subtlety. She said, Zain Tureen is a rapist. And everybody's like, what? They were processing what she said. And she continued, and she spoke her truth. The part that I did note she said was, Zain Tureen is a rapist. He is not rape adjacent. He is not a bit rapey. He is a rapist. And she continued on because she said, in the USA, he is rape adjacent. In Australia, he is a bit rapey. But he is a racist under UK law. And when she said that, I questioned that. I looked into it. And apparently stealthing, which is the removal of a condom during sex, is rape under UK law. In the US, it's not. In Australia, it's not. And here in my country of Canada, it is not. And I was like, oh word. Oh word. So that's another thing. So don't go watching this show and think if this happens to you, you can speak with your whole chest like she did. We gotta know our laws, and maybe we need to start questioning our laws too. So in the last scene, Arabella finally tells Biagio what has happened to her and that the police are going to be involved and ask for his semen sample. And the man is fuming. He is going off. And he is right to go off, being that he is a drug dealer and having the police involved in his life is already a huge no-no. But the way he went about it was terrible. I'm sorry, but it was not good. He began to victim blame Arabella by saying, if you watched your drink, you wouldn't have been raped. And again, it is not easy like that. It's not black and white like that. And he went about it the wrong way because what Arabella wanted from this man, even all the way from the beginning of this episode, she just wanted to be in Biagio's arms. She wanted that connection with him again. It was sort of safe. It was sort of comfortable. And what she got from Biagio was the farthest thing possible. I started to question whether Biagio really cared about her. Like, I understand he has this whole drug dealing business going on, but If you heard that this girl you care about got sexually assaulted, got raped, why is it the first thing out of your mouth? I don't think he really cares about Arabella the way she thought he did. And maybe he only liked Arabella because she was convenient for the moment, but now she's ruining his business. He could give two shits. His business comes before her. And maybe that's a wake-up call for her to see, like, this guy's not even it either. Like, where you're looking for love or whatever is not here. It is not here. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna close here. Tell me what you think. Let's keep the discussion going. Bring in your thoughts, bring in your opinions. Bring in more information, because I'm obviously always down to learn more about sexual assault and rape. When you guys comment something, I go into it, I go further into it and go find more information. So I'm learning as I'm watching. Let's keep this as a safe space to speak whatever we want to speak. We do not have to agree with each other. This is a place for an open dialogue. So let's just keep it going. Yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.